G'day guys, this is your lovely host H2O Queen. Yes, it has been a while since I've uploaded a video and this is why. I was originally planning to release my project as a premiere video, however all links are visible in the description, meaning you could see the guide before the release date, so a premiere video wasn't a viable option. Finally, after 19 months of cultivating my project, Pokemon Figure Analysis Guide, it's finally ready for public release. I hope it will assist all Pokemon Duel players both newly starting and to the originals. In this video I'll explain how to use this guide, so without further ado, let's do a reveal. Welcome to my Contents tab. When I created this section of my guide, I had a creative and fun fanfiction idea to complement the start of my guide. Plus the fanfiction helps to ease all the text that is shown in all my pages below. So I made it into a newspaper article and it's called Journey of Discovery Carves Inspiration. So I've actually even got the newspaper title and everything up there. So yeah, I did that all myself. But the artwork does get credited to Hibbleton, who does all the major artwork for me on my channel. So this is what I wrote. When Professor Oak first introduced us to the world of Pokemon, we were enlightened that Pokemon were a human's best friend or assisted trainers in battles. People and Pokemon coexist peacefully, and it has been this way for many generations. As the years passed, so did the love of Pokemon grow stronger. Sculptor Hinata Rihoru was at the pinnacle of his career, however he felt his designs were lackluster and missing that sun and soul that his workmanship is famous for. Mr. Rihoru was seeking inspiration for his wood carvings and was hoping that his journey would carve a new path. At the start of his journey, he had no intent of creating Pokemon history. On day 4 of his journey, Hinata was at the apex of a hill. As he was admiring the view, canopies were endless as far as the eye could see. Treetops seemed to kiss the horizon, and clouds waving fondly to those below. As he soaked in the warm sun rays, at that moment he was at peace with himself, his designs, and his life. Mr. Rihoru felt refreshed in what felt like years, just by viewing the crystal blue sky. He was ready to return home, and as he was closing his eyes, a brilliant light darted across, and that memory was engraved, which inspired him to create one of his most famous designs, which we play today. Can you guess it? Yes, Pokemon Duel. Trainers, people, Pokefans, and Poke lovers united when the sculptor released Pokemon figures to the public, as the Pokemon community was abuzz with excitement. Even though time has passed since his initial release of the figures, even though his original figure concept was handcrafted from wood, when his figures went public, distributors requested manufacturing lines to alter the material production from wood to plastic. Despite this, Mr. Rihoru still carves his figures from wood for his own personal collection. The public loved the concept of Pokemon figures, and millions of figures were sold worldwide. Even some figures are now considered rare and limited edition, which makes Pokemon figures highly sought after collectibles. Even though the fad from the initial figure release has passed, diehards are continuing to play, while others trade, sell, or buy figures to this day. Then there are the faithful fans who continue to support Mr. Rihoru and collect the figures, not only as a token of appreciation, however to thank Mr. Rihoru for bringing Pokemon and people closer together. I have learned from asking the townsfolk that some people collect while others duel. My question is to you, what is your style? This was by Comless Riku Aqua. And I had a quote as well, and it says Columnist Rico Aqua, and it's just supposed to be like a me version in anime form, so I thought it was cute. And the guy on the right, he is the sculptor, Rihoru Hanata, and Horu actually means to carve in Japanese, so I thought it was a fun play on words to do that, so that's why he's been known as Hanata. And Eikawa, actually kawa means river in Japanese, and I means love, so literally my name translates to love river, or so love of water for me. So my name literally translates to spirit child. In the quote it says, "In life, when impatient, we are blind to ourselves and the world around us. Yet in that moment, when we are patient and at peace, our hearts become our guides, and we are no longer blindsided from our innate gifts in which are bestowed upon us. From birth, me, an individual being, I have the ability to create a positive impact, and with my hands I lay a path. The steps a person takes on that path is their own to create, and yet that mystery is the most fascinating. If we do not let fear become us, and when we believe in ourselves and surrender, that is when our gifts speak to us and anything is possible." So I wrote that Pokemon Duel fan fiction, and it was illustrated by Hibbleton, so thank you very much Hibbleton for the beautiful artwork in this guide. It was really beautiful. So just to give a description, so this is Rihoru Hanata's home. So he resided up in the mountaintops, so most of his home was hand built, and so I'm just visiting him for the day and learning about him. And the Pokemon that he is crafting is the one that he saw on that fateful day, and this is what he is shaping at the moment. So yeah, so I thought I'd just give a little bit of a story behind that. So I have got a disclaimer about that, as you got to do with most stories. So if anything in here is similar to real life, it's not intended to be. So I do have to go through all the icky nicky stuff, and that is like disclosure policies and how to use this guide, bibliographies and stuff like that, but they're all got to be done though, because I've got to give respect and a bit of a rundown to everything that has been done in this guide. So in the disclosure policy I say that this guide is read only. Printing or claiming this guide voids your copyright terms and conditions. If you are sharing this guide, be respectful to give credit to its rightful owner, myself, H2O Queen. This spreadsheet is originally owned, created, researched and designed by myself from the owner of I Am Hanout. A lawyer, I did seek assistance from a lawyer to read through my guide just to make sure I'm not breaching any copyright terms. So I will see how this goes, and if I am breaching any copyrights, I might just have to remove my guide, but for now it seems okay. So if there are some grey areas regarding some aspects of my guide with regards to copyright laws, so I hope I am not breaking any copyright policies in the making of this guide. I Am Hanout is the owner of this guide, and other clans cannot claim this guide as their own. So this will be going onto my own server, so be sure to check that out guys, because that's where it's going to be staying and where it will be living. So I give acknowledgements to Pokémon and Heroes Incorporate for materials used in this guide. So, and I just give out all the dates and the trademarks and stuff that this Pokemon belongs to. So by continuing to use this guide, you're agreeing to the terms and conditions. So, and I also give a bit of a list on how to use this guide. I will also be going through on the video on how to do that, so I won't go into great detail because this video will explain that for you. But if you just get this guide and you're just wondering how to use it, if you don't want to look at my video, you can just get a brief rundown of it here. So then I go on to the foreword and I say, "G'day guys, it's Bubbly host H2O Queen. Thank you so much for reading this guide. Thank you for reading my Pokemon figure analysis guide. I hope my guide will be a deck builder's delight. Hopefully the analysis guide and reference guide would be like a Podu Pokemon Duel Pokedex and remain useful in your journey. My idea for this guide was born back on the 8th of September 2017 while on PokeForder's Discord server. Thank you to Booms who gave me the encouragement to pursue my idea and write this guide that would be colourful, informative and fun, and hopefully unique to most guides out there, particularly tab 3's special ability and status effect reference guide, which is a completely unique concept and idea by myself. I'm aware that there are guides and websites similar to my concept in existence. However, I have created a reference guide section which I hope it's completely unique. So essentially the reference guide is a collaboration of every Pokemon's status effects and abilities which have been categorized into this guide. Z-Moves list is in tab 4, was a new addition added to this guide on the 13th February 2019. It's a detailed collection of all Pokemon currently available in Pokemon Duel with a full explanation of Z-Moves per Pokemon. So appreciation also goes to the Reddit member Leafeon, whose post list of Pokemon that cause each status effect condition inspired me to write an in-depth guide. So thank you, Leafeon. I have written this guide primarily for myself, and I am sharing this in hopes Pokemon players and deck builders alike may find this following information useful in their Pokemon journey. Credit goes to all those who have added in this guide written below. It is a bibliography and acknowledgements. Please continue to read to the end of the page for important closure. Kindly take the time to read the credit below credits. After this guide's release date, it will continue to be updated for every Pokemon buff, nerf, and new banner Pokemon Player Pass update. Wishing all the best to those aspiring to become a Pokemon and/or Pokemon deck builder master. Thank you and enjoy. So then I go into the bibliography. We've got all the website references. I've actually had to go and actually ask some websites permission before I could just randomly use them in my guide. So that is a full list there. And then I have acknowledgements as well. So these are all the people that have helped out. So we've got like B-Booms, Zeg, PokeFodder, Landformy, Oak, Zeus. We go into Tita, Nicholas, X-Flame, Rocket and Kalel, Lishin. We've got Grimstar, Drake and Lakuzo, as well as Reiko and Rex, and then they're all little explanation as to what these individuals did, and then we go into Reddit credits as well. So yeah, so that completes my first tab on contents, and then now we shall continue on to tab 2, which is the Pokemon figure analysis guide. Welcome to the Pokemon Figure Analysis Guide tab. This section is quite similar to most guides available on the net, such as Cerebi or Bulbapedia. However, there are distinguishable differences that make my guide stand out. There are the colour-filled boxes in my guide which link to my special ability and status effect reference guide in tab 3. So I'll just zoom into this so you can see it more clearly. And it looks pretty overwhelming at first. Once you get used to it, it's pretty easy to understand. So we start off with the column for Pokemon, and then as it goes along we go into the Pokemon Duel ID number. So all my Pokemon have been alphabetized as they are listed in Pokemon Duel. So unfortunately they're not alphabetized by the actual name of Pokemon, so it's only alphabetized by your Duel ID. And then we go on to the image. So I have put in images of the Pokemon. I sourced these images from a website called Bulbapedia. I was originally colouring in the original images of Pokemon from the main game, and I only just found these like literally last week. So I feel really bad for anyone that's done recoloring for me. So yeah, but they better suit my theme than the main game images. And then we go into the wheel. This is a website, a wonderful website. It is called JewelDB.com. I've literally been living on this website, and I have been using their wheel references to be able to help me to do this guide. So it's really good visual cue. And then I had Hamilton, who also made me the type, the rarity, and the movement point symbols. So then that way, actually no, I think it was the people that made the rarity and MP movements. I think I got these ones off from DeviantArt. So then that way you've actually got like a visual cue as well. And then we go into the ability title and definition. If you refer back to the game, you've actually got, so like you've got like the name of the Pokemon and whatever else. And then you've got like the ability just underneath the title. So this is what it's just referring to. Now this is what you're probably wondering what these colored boxes are. So these actually link to tab 3, which I will get onto next. And these are all cues as to what these relate to. And then I go, if I need to explain or suggest any plates, these are all my personal opinions, nothing else of that. So I just put in suggestions if I feel like it's a need to or something important to highlight. And then all these here, blue slice, title, and like going into the guide, they're all just the sections and colors of the wheels. So I've just made sure that they're all colored so it's easy to see and find. And then if you get something like this that's titled as like reference guide, it's referring to the tab here, tab 3. So then that way you can actually see it, but I don't want to flick over to that just now because that's a whole heap of information in itself, and this is going to take quite a bit of time to explain. So I'll get to that in a bit. And then this goes into the gold wheel slices, white wheel slices, and the Piper wheel slices. And then I've even got the red slices for the mist as well. So that's all in there. But yeah, it has got all the Pokemon currently available. Now I will let you know, unfortunately my guide, the images have all been done and stuff. However, from time to time, because these are actually done, see, as you can see up there in the line description up here, they're actually come from a website link. So if the website is down or if it's having load issues, the images from all through here, if they don't load properly, well, unfortunately I can't do anything about that, but you can copy and paste the link and paste it into a separate page and it will show if you need to look at it. But unfortunately I really have no control over it until I actually find someone who is willing to help me to make a website. I really can't make this any more stable than what it currently is, but until such times, you just have to bear patience with me, guys, that yeah, it's not always going to show, especially if the website that the image comes from is down or not loading properly. But other than that, it's more so what you want is the text, not so much the images. But yeah, so it is pretty much every single Pokemon here is being listed, so that is really good. Okay, so I'm gonna roll over onto tab 3 and I'll go into some more details about these colored boxes, and I'll let you know in detail how each of these work. Welcome to the Pokemon Figure Analysis Guide, tab 3. This is where the fun begins, and this is an original concept of mine. I have literally extrapolated data from the original Pokemon's ability, status effects, and so on, and change it into my own wording. For example, we often see a Pokemon wheel slice showing, for example, Roar of Time or Protect. So what do these actual wheel slice names do other than just the description and what's shown on the wheel? So this section actually describes what each of these abilities do, and I have a full description on what these mean and how each Pokemon is linked to these abilities. Okay, so I have literally changed the context of what the wheel was. So for example, we might have Whirlwind, but what does actually Whirlwind do? So I've actually, like, for example, changed it into a name so that you like move opponent to bench. So that's just one of them, and each of them have been color coded. So the green equals an ability, so it's the major ability that controls a figure. It's the major one that you read at the top section. A purple ability is the one that you see for the purple wheels, and then you've also got the green and the blue wheels, the blue and the gold sections, for example. So these have been thoroughly explained, so you can see just how many I've had to write. This was not an easy task. These have all been done in order as per the Pokemon's dual ID. So I'm hoping that they are all in there. I have kindly left my Discord server link in my description below, so please make sure to check out the link, and to please make sure that you leave any feedback regarding if you have any issues at all about some information missing or something, etc. Because I've been through this a couple of times and I can't see anything missing, but I haven't got a second pair of eyes to check this all over. Okay, so this section literally describes what this does. So if we have like a look at type resistant white, so I've put everything as like color coded so you know what that actually means. So your Pokemon is currently affected by damage of a particular Pokemon type due to its white slice. So now we do the fun part. We're going to copy this, and then we're going to go Control F, and see how it says 1 of 2. Now this is where the fun begins, and I could scroll down there, but I won't spoil the surprise just yet. And then it'll show another section of my guide as well. So scroll down here. Okay, so this is now where we get into part 2. So this is a table of contents, a reference table here, which shows all the Pokemon that are linked to these above information up here. So this is I call this a Pokemon Special Ability Status Effect Reference Table. So remember how I was showing earlier, I went Control F and then type resistant white. So now if we go down here, now we can actually see a list of figures that are type resistant. So we've got Goldeen, Phoebus, and Sylveon UX. So if you're looking for a particular, how this actual table works is that if you're looking for particular types that need to work in like a selective team, let's go over to here. Let's look at Stack Attacker. So that's one of the new figures that have come out recently. So here's Stack Attacker. So Stack Attacker, so Ultra Beast, until the end of the Pokemon's first battle, the blue attacks of the Steel type Pokemon are not lost from the effects of abilities or Z moves. The added damage and number of persistent turns of attack effects of this Pokemon are additively increased for each Pokemon in the Ultra space. So we have a thing here that says in its special ability, so we've got added damage and turn attack effects are increased for each figure in the Ultra space ability. So This would work really well with, as we know, selected around an Ultra Beast type deck. So especially with Celestelia, Formosa, and so forth. So if we're looking up like figures that actually could maybe add on to weight. So if we want to actually, I know it's not really quite connected, but if you want to making sure that you've got figures that gain weight or increase weight, so if you want to have like a weight like team, so if we go up here and we search for weight purple, for example, we can have a look up here for Pokemon that have weight. So if you do see a bracket, the bracket just simply means that it can be either for one particular Pokemon or for multiple Pokemon that have weight that could give your opponent's figures weight. So just bear that in mind if you do see brackets or any funny wording like that. So these are a list of all the Pokemon currently that have weight, and there are 54 Pokemon that actually have weight, which is pretty impressive if I do say so myself. So you can go through here and have a look. So let's just say you might want to have a look at Seismitoad, have a bit of a look. So you just copy Seismitoad and you go back over to tab 2, and then we can go and have a little read of Seismitoad, and let's just have a bit of a read about that figure, and let's just see how it would fit well into a deck along with Sakataka. So you can go back through and hop between tab 2 and tab 3. They work really well together. So you can go through and have a bit of a read and see how each of these actually work. But yeah, so that's pretty much how this page works. So just make sure that you familiarize yourself and get used to it, because these are completely unrelated to the actual names of Pokemon's wheels. So I've tried to put them into like a description, so like poison purple, so that's pretty self-explanatory, so meaning that the opponent gets poisoned. And then so if you had anything that has like the word self or opponent, it's usually referring to the self being your own figure, and then the opponent being of course the opponent's figure. So but yeah, that also brings me on to a little bit of data that I've been working on. So this has actually been really helpful to me, this piece here. This actually is being a list of all the special ability and status effects. I've kept these here as a special list. These have all been broken down, and you can see which ones here have the biggest amount of weight. So I thought this was really cool data. So there's 54 Pokemon that currently have weight purple, and then we've got like, how many have we got here? Probably about 50 something that have got like set types, receive damage ability. So I mean, this is not available to you guys, but this has just been collected data that I have been gathering, and you can see which ones are most or least popular. And I've pretty much only just been keeping this to myself, just for the sheer fact being is that it's just more so for my own personal collection, because sometimes I've actually been missing pieces of data that have been right in the guide. So it's been really good having this as a backup. So, and it's been really cool going back through it and to see what's there and what isn't. And yeah, it's been really informative and really cool. Alright, so let's get back to this. So yeah, make sure that you guys have a read through. Honest to goodness, with the amount of purple that is out there, I thought purple would have ruled the roost. But as you can see, purple ends about here, and then the green keeps going and going and going. So yeah, and then at the end of each tab, if you have a look down here, if you look at the link, that's where you need to go to contact me and to go visit me on my server if you notice anything is a little bit odd or looks unique, or not unique, but looks a little bit out of the norm from what you see, and just get back to me there and I shall get back to you guys regarding any corrections that you have noticed. Now I will also let you know that if it is confusing, I do apologize. I'm also just did this for myself. If anyone chooses to use this guide, then that's great, but I can understand it's going to be a bit confusing at first because there is a sheer lot of data with it, and not everything is going to make sense when you first look at it, but I'm hoping in time that it will. So yeah, that brings a conclusion for tab 3, and I hope you guys find this section informative. Welcome to Z moves list, the final tab of my guide. I could have actually put the Z moves underneath the individual figures on tab 3. However, that would have been a lot of additional time. As it is, this has been a crazy amount of hours spent on this guide, so to do it all individually would have taken way too much time, and I don't think you guys mind that it's on a separate tab. So again, its Z moves list is set up exactly the same way as the Pokemon figure analysis guide. So it's all being categorized by the Pokemon's dual ID, and then it all goes into an actual detailed breakdown of all the Z moves. So instead of just listing the Z moves, I've actually put in visual cues. So the purple indicates it's a purple Z move, and the pink indicates it's just a normal Z move that doesn't have an actual ability to like apply a status effect or like knock it out from the field. So I've actually done that. But yeah, so no, I like the way it's all being written out. So it's all been, you can actually see you've got like the typing, and I've got the actual type that's related to it, and it's got down there, you can actually see the damage, attack damage and stuff. So, and if you see any of the grey boxes, it just means that it isn't valid. And the reason why I have a third one is if we go to figures like Lunala or like Dawnwind's Necrozma, you'll actually notice I've actually got 3. I'm just trying to see if I can scroll down and find it. Yeah, see, we go to Solgaleo, so we've actually got like 3 listed here. That's just because of its ability. So yeah, so if you do see that, that's just the only reason why. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty straightforward and fairly self-explanatory. So this is another one of my Z moves reference table. I hope it will be useful to you guys, and that when you're trying to find maybe like a specific deck that has maybe just like all purples for purple Z moves and stuff. So hopefully this might be informative. Now I will let you know, because of the new figure Arceos that was just released, because it has its ability that it can actually transform into any type, I've just gone and put all of the figures, all the current Z moves into this one figure, so then that way you can actually see it all, but it's not going to change its attack damage. Unfortunately, it's still going to do 340 regardless, unless it's going to be transformed into ground, rock, or dragon, or fairy type. They're the only 4 types that have the purple Z move ability. So, but I've still listed those just in case you want to have a look, and saving you having to look up and down and scroll everywhere. You can actually see this directly in front of you. So in concluding this guide, I just want to let you know that unfortunately, even though it does work for PC and laptop, it doesn't really work on mobile devices, particularly mobile phones or cell phones I should say, or iPads. You will see the written information, but the images will look really distorted and out of place, and some of them won't even load properly. So yeah, until I can get onto a website, I'm kind of stuck. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this guide. It's been at least 400 hours and it's a labor of love that I've put into this. So make sure that if you have any questions or would like to know more, please put into the description below and I will get back to you guys. And thank you so much for sitting through. I think this has almost been a 40-minute video. So thank you for your patience, guys. This is Bubbly Host, H2O Queen over and out. Peace, love, light, and joy. And enjoy the rest of the day. And thank you so much for sticking around and to see my Pokemon figure analysis guide. Thank you.